Thank you. Now to our Pulse on Health for you this afternoon. The FDA officially moved to ban red dye number 3 from food, drinks, drugs because of its potential cancer risks. So Dr. Sonal Harder is here to discuss the significance of this move and why it took the nearly 30 years to get done. So for starters, what is red dye number 3?
Okay, so red dye number 3 is derived from petroleum, and it's a synthetic red color added to foods for that bright cherry red color.
Which is why I asked you, where is it most commonly found? Like, you think it's so obvious. Big red came to mind for me, but you said it's
candy,
candies.
cereal, your frosting, your frozen desserts, also vegetarian meat, certain medications, cough syrups, strawberry milkshakes or protein shakes, those kind of things. So the color, think about red color that you see in foods, and sometimes that's derived from this particular food additive.
And when we talk about this ban going into effect, it also impacts ingested drugs. So where exactly would you see it in the medication aisle if you're looking for red dye number 3?
So you can actually read this in the ingredients. It's listed in the ingredients as red number 3 or FD&C red number 3, something like that. So it should be listed on the ingredients.
And you said that can be commonly found in cough syrups.
Certain medications as well.
Drops.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so what sort of medical research and studies kind of prompted this ban, one that they've been looking at for 30 years?
Right. So basically, there was a study done amongst male rats that showed that when they were exposed to high doses of this dye, there was a high risk of thyroid tumors and cancer. So that basically prompted, and health advocates have been pushing for this ban since 2022. And based on that evidence and the Delaney clause that prohibits us from using any food additives that has potential for cancer, I think here we see the ban at this point.
Okay, and just to be clear, the reason why this is going into effect right now is because we should have the choice to know, A, what's causing cancer, and B, decide not to ingest it.
Sure. I mean, there is so much we can look into on nutrition and say this is one step forward, but we have to look at our ultra-processed foods, our high sugary foods, access to good food that's close to nature. All those things are being questioned at this point, and I think this is a step towards in the right direction.
And should we be worried if we're still ingesting it until 2027, 28, until they phase it out completely?
That's a great question. So if you have an alternative, an option, I would go for that.
Okay.
But also remember the study showed that these were high doses that the rats were exposed to. And the mechanism of cancer in rats is very different from mechanism in humans. So I wouldn't panic about it, but if there's an option, an alternative to those products, I would opt for that.
Right, and so as you said, we would have to have a very great concentration of red dye number 3 to even start seeing signs and symptoms.
High doses and
issues.
Long exposure, exactly.
Okay, well, we know Sonal is gonna stick around because we're gonna be talking about the benefits of meal prepping. We've all heard of it. It's not as daunting as it seems. We wanna stick to those New Year's resolutions, so we'll have that after